Started now. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the April Fool's edition of the Wisconsin Chapter NRHS meeting. I'm the Prexy of the chapter. I'm Mike Uhas. I'm delighted that you've chosen to come out tonight as the weather starts getting nicer and the days start getting longer. We certainly appreciate your patronage here tonight. Okay, so this is what's happening today in terms of an agenda for today's meeting. Just a couple of quick announcements. I've already said welcome, so welcome. We're going to have a few news photos, some things that have happened in the world of railroading. We're going to cover with photos from me, from Jeff Wojciechowski, and from Al Baker, and a couple more announcements. And then we're going to get straight into our program with John Jebko and Ray Peacock right shortly after that. So the news photos that we're going to get into here is first we're going to talk about our friend, our member, my former colleague, Jim Ren, who passed away this week. Jeff is going to talk about the derailment in Pewaukee, and Al Baker will be talking about the new Siemens passenger cars. So we'll get to that shortly. In fact, why don't we, let me start that now. Sort of a quick remembrance of Jim Ren. Photos that I took of Jim at work. His first day in the building was October 27th, 2004. That was his first day as editor of Trains magazine, and they needed a photo of him right away, and I was the only one who had a camera, so I snapped this photo in the library of Jim on his first day of work, October 27th, 2004. A couple of years later, he was well into his duties there, to the point where he felt like blowing things up. I don't know where he got the grenade, but it was a fixture on his desk for a long time. Another fixture on his desk was the large pile of manuscripts that were looking for attention and the green light to get published in Trains magazine. In March of 2010, Trains magazine and Amtrak partnered on a Ask Amtrak kind of session, sort of a user group meeting at the Merchandise Mart in Chicago. And Jim was the moderator of this. There he is sitting next to Joe Boardman, who was president of Amtrak at the time. Amtrak's police chief was at the lectern right behind him. So you have that. And a couple of years later, Jim and I had a trip down to Indianapolis, and we did not go by train, but we did drop in on, his friend was the caretaker for some Iowa Pacific cars. They were in Chicago that weekend. We stopped by and we visited for a while in the Dome car. And then we got trackside and we shot a few photos. This is Ren, James Ren. Our friends at the Iowa Pacific had actually given us some of these chairs that they didn't need anymore. So we set them up trackside. And there we are on the former New York Central Main Line. And then the next day along the CSX west of Indianapolis, same chairs. At a trade show, that's what we went down for, the Short Line, American Short Line and Regional Railroad Association show. And there's Jim discussing the finer points of something with one of the contributors, Roy Blanchard, who was doing some work for us at the time. In January of the next year, we exhibited at the National Railroad Construction Maintenance Away Contractors Association in I'm not sure, California, Florida, wherever it was. And here he was just as we were getting the booth all set up. And then after we had gotten all dressed and ready to go, we were both a little bit nervous. And then in March of 2015, Steve Sweeney was moving into a new place, and he asked us if we wouldn't mind helping move in. And well, we did. And after we did that, we went rail fanning. So that's Jim on the left, David Lassen, Brian Schmidt, Steve Sweeney, and then the ad sales guy on the right. That would be me. We went to another show. I think this was the Railway Interchange show in Minneapolis. And after we were all done with that, Steve Glashinsky took us to a Ferris wheel bar in Minneapolis. That was kind of fun. And then here's a shot at the Tourist Railroad Association, or whatever it was called at the time. Jim in the center. And on the left there is Alan Ryder. I'm specifically putting this photo of Alan Ryder in. He was an old friend of Jim's, but also an old friend of John Jebko, our presenter here tonight. And then finally, they had, Kate and Jim had gotten each other, they had bought a gift for, I'm not sure who was the primary user. They were very happy to receive a Sigma 150 to 600 millimeter lens, which Jim used for trains and Kate used for birds. So it's gotten a lot of use in the Cratville Rin household. And so with that, I'm going to ask for just a moment of silence, if you would, please, to remember Jim Ren. Thank you. All right, so we're going to continue on with our presentations here now. The next news photo, I'm going to ask Jeff Wojciechowski to unmute and show us your photos of the Pewaukee derailment, please.
Yep. Well, first off, I want to say I regret that I never got a chance to meet Jim, and I have met Kate several times, and definitely want to send my condolences to family and friends. So I'd like to do that. On March 19th, CP derailed about 20 miles west of Milwaukee, and this is what I saw.
CP detector, mile 108.2, Watertown, 31 degrees, axle 4434, alarm. First alarm, hotbox, north rail, axle 31, second alarm. Sticking brake, axle 31, third alarm. Dragging equipment near axle 32, fourth alarm. Dragging equipment near axle 34, link 6867, mile 108.2, out.
Emergency, BNSF 3803, Easton emergency, 6.5 on the main, 286.
BC on dispatcher to Plainville.
Dispatcher, BNSF 3803, 286 is train, over.
Go ahead, 286.
Went over the 108.2 detector, sticking brake, and dragging equipment defect came back to us here, stopped on main line now. It was putting air to it to come to a stop here, and then it, just as it was coming to just as I got on the air is not coming back yet, over.
Yeah, air's not going to come back. We're on the ground, over.
On the ground, how far back?
Fifth car from the head end, it's a wheel flat. There's wheels all over the place. Well, what I can see, there's at least 5 or 6 for sure.
Any hazardous cars there to relay?
All our hazardous, according to the paperwork here, is going to be the 102nd through the 108th car way in the rear of the train there, over.
And crew members are okay.
I'm starting to feel a little ill looking in the mirror. Oh my Lord.
And that's what I saw.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. That stuff happens in railroading. Thankfully, not too often, but nice footage, nice little production there. Thank you.
Glad
Anybody have any
everybody was
questions? Anybody have any questions for Jeff on that? Okay, not hearing any. Al Baker
Hey,
has,
Mike.
yeah,
Mike.
yes.
Not so much a question, but a warning. I went out later that day and shot the same derailment. Channel 4 used some of my photos, and I got an email from the FAA that we were flying in a temporary flight restricted zone. And so just a word of warning, be careful.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't see anything on my app.
Yeah, so I noticed some of yours was on Fox 6. So yeah, I got a letter. Somebody complained. So you might want to get your 107 or just don't go up. So I'm just getting a letter of that I was counseled, but just a heads up.
Thank you, Keith. We'll continue with our news photos for today. Al Baker.
Sure, I'll see if I can get this pulled up here real quickly. Hey, I just have a quick montage of photos taken around the Sturtevant area the last 2 weeks. This is your typical post-COVID Hiawatha service train, 3 Horizon coaches, an Ampli coach, and 2 Chargers. Got a tip on the 13th of March that they were going to start using one of the new Amtrak Midwest cars for crew familiarization on this run on one of the 2 train sets. And the tip also was that on April 1st, they're going to start revenue service. That was a good April Fool's joke, I guess. But anyway, here's a quick montage. This is at Sturtevant, taken on the last day of February 28th. This is on the 14th. This is train 340, and it's got the brand new Siemens car. It's number 4005. And these cars are all variants of the original Brightline cars that were put in service in 2008. Amtrak Midwest ordered 97 of these cars, 68 married pairs, and 29 single cars. And interestingly enough, they ordered 3 cab cars for the Hiawatha service, but I haven't seen or heard anything of these cab cars. Again, this is train 340 on the 14th at Sturtevant. The next night, this was also the daylight saving time weekend, so tried to take advantage of the sunlight, also take advantage of the 339 340 pair because they passed Sturtevant within 10 minutes of each other. So this is 339 with the car. It was always on the north end of the train. Sometimes things get in the way. An oil train came through right in the middle of my photography session there at Sturtevant. This is at South Sturtevant, Brown Road. This is on the 21st, train 336, going by its speed. A couple close-ups of the car there. And on the 21st there at Sturtevant, same combination. This is 339. And this is this morning on train 334. It's arriving on main track number 1. That is not the normal track. It was just the in-service car, no full train of these. View from the top. And at the same time, 198 went by, and it was the second section of 198, or the second train, because 2 of them came by within 30 minutes each other here. So made for an interesting photograph. But anyway, that's the future of high-speed rail here in the Midwest.
Thank you, Al Baker. Anybody have anything, any questions for Al?
Wanted to add that I saw where the Milwaukee Biz Journal said that Amtrak's re-added those 2 trains that had been suspended as effective as of 2 days ago.
Quick question: how many of the cars have been ordered, and in what configurations?
For the Midwest service, 97 cars were ordered, and the 68 in married pairs, and then 29 single cars. So total 97 cars. And then there was 3 cab cars of those single cars that were specifically for the Hiawatha service.
Interesting, they're going to married pairs.
Yeah, well, actually, the Brightline trains, the whole train is, one set of, I believe 5 cars or 6 cars. And Amtrak said they don't have facilities in Chicago to handle a train like that, so they just ended up with married pairs versus Also gives them some flexibility in terms of adding and subtracting cars.
Yeah, that was the old thing with those fixed Zephyr type consists that it could never add or subtract anything. And if one car went down, the whole train went down.
Yeah, so
Yep.
it'll be interesting, but these cars have been delayed over a year. And the reason I heard they didn't go into service on April 1st was that there's batteries, magnets that hold the trays together that fold down, and these can cause damage to electronics and potentially interfere with a pacemaker. So they took them out of service in Illinois, and that's probably why they didn't come in service here in Wisconsin. A lot of problems with these cars. They've had lead in the water, and they sat in Chicago for a long time getting retrofitted, and just rolled the first ones out in Illinois the 1st of February, and we're still waiting up here in Wisconsin.
Thank you, Al. Appreciate it. All right, we'll continue on with our short little program here. Tell you about our next meetings. If we can find anybody to run it, we'll have a second Friday Gab Fest next Friday. I'm not going to be available, but if you are interested in hosting our second Friday Gab Fest, please let me know, and then members will get an email about that. Then on Tuesday, the 19th of April, we'll have our April online slideshow. 5 presenters. Again, we're still looking for a couple of presenters. So if you're interested in presenting, please drop me a note. Then on the 6th of May, Friday, the 6th of May, Andrew S. Nelson will be doing a program on Wisconsin Central and another one on Green Bay and Western. So that's going to be interesting and fun. He'll be showing them to us live in our meeting location in Fox Point. So we hope you can make it to that or by Zoom. Now is the time to welcome a few new members to our chapter. Patrick Malone of West Salem has joined us within about the last month or so. Welcome, Patrick. Dave Jakubiak, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but from Livonia, Michigan. Welcome, Dave. And I think you just checked in. I saw you pop in. Dave, are we saying your name right? Or maybe you're not here yet. David? Dave? Well, welcome, Dave. Also, welcome to Chris Gus from Lake Villa, Illinois. Welcome, Chris. And Barry Becker is now a member of the Wisconsin chapter. Barry is a retired conductor on the Canadian National. He lives in Butler. And Thomas Klimek from Green Bay saw our presentation a couple weeks ago on Foxy, and he decided he needed to join us. So we got his check in the mail today. So welcome to all of our new members. If you are not yet a member, and please do remember that members of the Wisconsin chapter make these meetings possible for you. We never charge admission for the meetings, but we do ask if you obtain value from our meetings that you consider becoming a member of the Wisconsin chapter NRHS. It's very simple to do. Just go to our website, www.nrhswis.org, and boom, it's simple. Or just send us a check for $20. So with that, that's the end of our announcements for this evening, whatever time it is.